with us. We absolutely loved the film The Unfamiliar. Awesome job, well done. Congratulations on the release. I was lucky enough to catch it before the release, and I can't wait for everybody to watch it. How are you doing tonight, Hank?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm in Turkey at the moment, so it's quite fun.
Where are you at right now?
I'm in Turkey. Went
Turkey,
for
right?
went for a cheeky holiday, which I found online, and eventually just ended up going.
Wow. Well, we are very grateful that you came on to Where the Scary Things Are to talk about the movie. I'm going to jump right into it and ask you where did the idea come from um, to start this? I mean, I thought it was brilliant the way you shot it and everything. So, kind of talk to us about the ideas that you had, where it came. You know, you produced it, you wrote it, right, and you directed it.
I actually produced, but actually Luan Greef was the lead producer on it. But I wrote it with Jennifer Nicole Stang, and then I directed it for 5 years. So to answer your question, basically, I was hanging out in Los Angeles with a bunch of Marines, and they just came back from Afghanistan, and they told me all these stories about war and how it affected them. But they didn't really open up about it. They had a sort of a shield around them, and I found it quite interesting because I thought, these guys, the incredible things, they're incredibly patriotic. They really fight for a cause they believe in, and they didn't indulge they didn't indulge in what really happened and how they felt about it. And I thought it'd be really interesting to do a horror film and to create one where you have this character coming back from war, and she's a British Army doctor, so she came with clear attention to heal the wounds abroad. And she comes back and she's got some wounds, and we're not sure whether it's PTSD or it's just her trying to reconnect with her family, and really to figure out why is it that she wouldn't just be like, listen, I've got PTSD or I'm quite vulnerable, and deal with it. And that idea that they don't really deal with their sort of vulnerability, that really attracted me initially. And then Jennifer Nicole Stan, the co-writer, came with the idea of Hawaiian mythology, and she went to Hawaii. She wrote this. She read this like really thick book about Hawaiian mythology and told me about the night marches, the Maginas, and the Kunas. And I was like, wow, that's fascinating. And then we put the two ideas together, and that's how the Unfamiliar came about.
I After I got done watching the film, I went and I looked up some of the Hawaiian urban legends, like the night marchers and the things that, like, if you run into one, what you have to do, and they have so much folklore around there. So I was curious about how much research did you do to capture and to do it, like, to make sure you captured it right in the film, because it seemed like it was something that was pretty believable, because you had like the witch doctor, I guess. I forgot the name that they called her. But how did you? What kind of research did you do?
So the special healer is called the Kahuna. So we did quite a lot of research to make it authentic, and at the same time we wanted to have it as a three-dimensional plot point in the film, and which basically means it's got to be a positive and it's got to be negative in a very theoretical, cold way if you look at plot from a writing perspective. So if you look at the Unfamiliar, you'll see it's both the solution and the problem, to the actual film in a plot way. And which brings me to a weird way of looking at the Unfamiliar. I wanted to see it as a haiku rather than a sonnet or a free verse poem. And what I mean with that is I wanted to really know about the Hawaiian mythology, the night marches, as you mentioned, which I'm sure you know that if you come across a night marcher, you got to take off all your clothes, you got to lay down, and you got to get out of these paths and not look at him in the eye. Otherwise, he'll take your soul and basically you'll die. So, that is the folklore around the night marcher. And you had all these interesting folklore, but the way the story is told is I wanted to withhold a lot of that information and have the audience make their minds for themselves and fill in those informations. And if you hold information from an audience, it basically gives them tension because they don't know where the story is going. And so it was interesting because we did all this research and we had all books and we read all these books, and then we had all this information, and we didn't use a lot of exposition in the film, rather than a device where we left out information to have the plot. But at the same time, it had to make sense in the end. So this nonsensical puzzle had to make sense, which is what we hope we achieved.
So there were a few scenes in there that really, I mean, it was beautifully shot. I mean, it looks like you where did you shoot, and were you actually in Hawaii?
Thank you. That's beautifully shot. There was there was 2 tons of plants being driven to in London, and we called it Kentwai. So we were in Kentwai at the time, and we were in a studio that we made up looked like a lagoon. And then we had some footage from Hawaii inserted in the film as well. So someone did go to Hawaii, which is nice. It wasn't the entire crew, no.
When speaking of the lagoon, that was one of my favorite scenes of the movie, and just because the way that you were able to capture that shot where, and I have it here in my background, I'll kind of move when it pops up, but the camera was down here, and you're pointing up at Izzy, and she's swimming, and I understand that Izzy did a lot of her own stunts there, but that scene alone, I mean, it was terrifying because we see what's in the water. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but it was just that shot right there. That was just
Awesome.
that was just amazing. So, were there any challenges that you had while shooting?
It's sorry to bring that specific shot up. That was a very, very challenging 3 days of my life. I had too little time to shoot the lagoon scenes, and Jemima West, which plays Elizabeth Cormack, she's an incredible actress. She did all her own stunts, and she literally learned how to dive a day before we started with the shoot. So it was incredibly challenging. I mean, you've got 6 divers. It's a 6-meter pool, and you don't think of 6 meter as very deep until you try and swim to the bottom, and your ears almost pop out, And so it was quite an intense day with Izzy, and I think that the only reason why I only gave myself 3 days is because the first time I shot in water, and then and another thing is, like, I would pick up the microphone, and then I would talk to Izzy, and the entire crew and everyone would hear me because it's like it'd be like these speakers underneath water would go, hello, hello, hello. And this is the kind of thing you fantasize about when you're a young director. You think you're going to pick something out, you're going to talk to everyone, and then you do it, and you suddenly realize how silly you sound sometimes. It's like, oh, did I just say that? That doesn't make any sense. And everything you say, then about 60 people hear you. So my direction was very concise. I would tell you that much.
Well, speaking of sounding silly, I'm going to hand it over to Muse and let her ask her questions.
Okay. Somehow I knew he was talking about me when he said silly. Okay. I was like, uh-oh, let me unmute here. It's about to be my turn. Okay. We talked about some of the most some challenging parts of filming this great film, The Unfamiliar. So there were a lot of great scenes, but were there any scenes you had to cut out for whatever reason that you wish you could have kept in the film, maybe for whatever reason?
Yeah, so there was this one scene where Ethan and Izzy talk about the possibility of her having PTSD. And I had a flashback in this scene where we actually see her tackling Emma in the hallway. And she had this huge scene where she had a flashback of what happened to her in the army, and she came back into hallway, and she saw Emma in the hallway, and Emma looked like a ghost, or just that typical way horror movie scene where there's a really odd looking woman in the end of the hallway. And Izzy just ran up to her, tackled her down, and as she tackled her, the lights came on, and Ethan was right in front of him. It's like, why did you tackle Emma? And it sounds great because it was like the reveal that, you know, her PTSD is getting to her immediate family. But it was such a strong beat that I felt if we put it in at that specific time in the film and didn't really fit anywhere else, the beat is so strong that the audience members would go, wait a minute, like if she already tackled, if she tackled Emma there, surely the family would react bigger, and why aren't they? So it was one of those scenes where I thought about it for a very long time and said, well, we'll have to drop it. And then honestly, also the tackle, just the idea of a woman tackling her child seemed so harsh to me when I watched it. Unfortunately, poor Jemima had to go through it in any way, and Rebecca Hansen, but they were very, very big sports about it. But it seems so harsh and so out of place for a character if she wasn't 100% sure that it was in fact a ghost, and she ran up to danger and she tackled it. And then we took it out one day and we didn't need it. So that was really the reason why we didn't leave it in.
Okay, it's a powerful scene though. I definitely that I can see what you're saying though, for sure. So I did a little research on you, and for the earlier part of your career before you started directing and filmmaking, you were an actor. You were in front of the camera for the earlier part of your career. So you know, acting and directing have their own sets of challenges. So comparing, what would you say was the biggest challenge as an actor that you faced, and the biggest challenge that you face as a director? What are the obstacles and the biggest challenges for both?
I think the biggest challenge as an actor to me personally was the idea that I wasn't involved in the decision making of who to cast, and I'm sort of, it's very difficult for me to sit and wait for someone else to tell me, yes, you're good enough. It makes me very, to be honest with you, insecure. And I think that actors are incredibly brave, that they can face that their own vulnerability because they are the product, and they need to be very secure of themselves, I think, to be able to wait for someone else to approve them for a role. And it's not because it's personal. There's nothing personal about it. There's a million reasons why an actor is not right for a role or doesn't suit the project, and sometimes it's just basically financial. So I couldn't take that. Whereas as a director, I felt that I was more in control of my destiny, and I had more. And I've always written films or stories from an incredibly young age, and I could be more I could look at all the parts, and it's funny enough because as a director, I leave a lot of room for actors because I appreciate them that much, and it's also a way to give them a secure space where they can actually perform and do what they meant to do, and also I try to write a script that has a strong character arcs and really look at every single character and see if I can add stuff to them or more obstacles or more of a journey. Whereas with being an actor myself, I was in a soap opera, and then I did a television series as well where I played the antagonist. And then I lost all my hair, and I thought maybe I'm just going to be Rex Luthor from now on. You know, I had more aspirations than that. But you know, so it's about talk. It's about the ability to act. It's quite a rough job, actually, I think, being an actor. I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry.
It does. And it does take, I agree completely. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there because people are scrutinizing you, and you're taking a lot of criticism a lot of the time. So definitely being secure with who you are takes a lot of confidence. So I understand completely what you're saying. So speaking of staying on the topic of directing, who are some of your favorite directors? Who has influenced you as you in your career as a director? Like who do you think is just fantastic?
I really enjoy Stanley Kubrick. I think that the way he's really heady about stuff and he really thinks and he's a true intellectual. I enjoyed him. And then more modern directors, I love James Wan. I think that what James Wan did for horror and making it cinema is really inspired me, I suppose. And then I'm a cliche in that in the sense that I'm a Spielberg fan. I'm even a James Cameron fan, just because I understand what it is that these guys were pioneering. And at the same time, even though I'm a fan of them, I can't repeat anything they've done because they've done it before me. So it's an odd thing where I admire them, but I admire them to understand what they've achieved. But I hope to achieve it in a completely different way. And I'm not sure where film is going. So maybe it's going to virtual reality or whatever it's progressing towards. I need to understand. And then Christopher Nolan, he's also, I mean, he's an incredible director to me. Yeah, so that those guys, I would say at first glance.
Well, those are some fantastic names. I am a huge fan of all of those directors, especially Stanley Kubrick.
Awesome.
Yes, definitely. And if it makes me a cliche, then I'm a cliche because I'm a huge Spielberg fan as well. I mean, absolutely. I'm right with you. But they're all fantastic. So there were some great special effects in this film and creature makeup on the demons and things of that nature. Who did the special effects and the makeup? And I love the artwork as well. We see a scene there where we get a look at some of the sketches that were done as preparation for the book and things like that. So I was just curious as who was behind the artwork, and the special effects, the makeup, the creature effects, the demon effects.
So we did as much as possible in camera. So Rob Drake, who was the creature designer for us, incredible body of work. And so he made sure that there's an incredible amount of detail to the creatures. And then Israel Townsend, he was the concept drawer. And he drew all these creatures before we made them. And then a company called Axis, which did Ex Machina, they did the visual effects for us. But what was great about Axis is they advised us also to just do as much in-camera effects, which was Artem, as possible. And so they didn't want to like, they were the kind of visual effects company that said, listen, the less we do, the better it's going to look. And I really appreciate that guidance from them. And we just like, I literally looked at the script and I took every scene apart, and I was just imaginative about like how can I shoot it. I even changed sequences around, like there was a ritual in the Unfamiliar that I had to like rethink completely, and to make it a sequence that you can shoot in camera 80% of the time. And I think that made it possible to have a more classic look, because I'm very afraid of like 8K televisions where you can see every single detail. And in this way, I hope it ages a little bit better.
Well, it was fantastic. I loved the makeup, the effects. I was just blown away. It was absolutely fantastic. So I love the film, and I could ask a million questions. I don't want to take up all the time, but yeah, you definitely don't need more of my silly questions. But I loved talking to you. It was a fantastic film. I'm going to pass you over to Chris the Creature ZZ. I'm sure he's got a lot of great questions for you.
At least some mediocre questions. Hey, Henk, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for asking, Chris.
Hey, I did some employment assistance work before I retired, and PTSD was a big thing. A lot of new studies on it, a lot of new research on it. What it was sort of expanded, who suffers from it, not just people in wars, but abuse victims. And we're still in a stage where there's a lot we don't know, and there's a lot we'll probably be finding out, especially over the next 10 years. Did you and Jemima West become experts in it? Because it was a major part of this movie. I'm guessing you guys probably did much research, because you seem to nail a lot of it in this film.
it's funny. It's quite a personal story for me, actually. Is my wife was diagnosed with a slight bit of PTSD, and in her recovery, I actually started understanding what it is, what it means to have PTSD. And it's not saying that PTSD, oh, a bomb exploded, and now every time you hear a loud noise, you are scared of it. I mean, that's part of it, obviously. But it could also be abusive relationship in your past, or something that really affected you from a psychological point of view. And so it was, but to come to terms with that you have PTSD is almost like if you could imagine you're an alcoholic and you don't want to admit it. It's a similar psychological process, and it's coming to terms with the PTSD that really sort of, that I invested a lot of time in the unfamiliar, because as you know, the film and the twist of the film, how we deal with it, that like coming to terms with the idea that she could have PTSD. That was the idea, and also looking at her specific character in her being a British Army doctor. How would an Army person deal with PTSD? Because if you have PTSD as an Army person or even a Marine, and you admit to it, and you walk around with that, and you go to a psychologist, and people find out, there might be a stigma around it, which is obviously completely wrong, and we shouldn't have a stigma about any mental, if you want to call it a disorder. I don't know if it's said as that, but we shouldn't have a stigma about it, and we should try and understand, and we should see where they're coming from. But it's something they hide, and something they guard, and something they don't even discuss with their partners. So that's really where our take on it was.
But the other question I has, I know Jemima West's performance is outstanding, and a lot of people are going to ask about her, but I'm going to be a little bit different, because Christopher Dane as Ethan the husband, kind of a weird, difficult performance, because he had to be almost sickeningly sweet, supportive, and he also had to be the heavy, maybe the antagonist. And then I won't even mention the ending because I don't want to do spoilers, but at least for the first half of the film, that he had to be those two roles, and it had to work. You had to be looking at the same guy, and I know that wasn't easy to do.
Yeah, I loved working with Chris. I actually saw his body of work previously, and he's got such an incredible body of work. And I just landed in the UK, and I said, I'd love to meet Chris Dane. I think he's got a great body of work. And he's actually a Danish actor. And he's one of those guys that he just really professional, and he took every single beat in the script and decoded it and really worked hard. It's just what he does. Is just he really works hard, even on his accent. His different accents and the way he interpreted the character. He really thought about everything, and it was so lovely working with him, because he has a complex character, and it's a character that catches you off guard, I suppose. And he did it. There was so little effort from my side, except probably writing the project and offering it to him, that justified me getting any credit for it. But he did a fantastic job, and he did surprising, and the edit was so surprising, because I saw all the nuances he brought to it. Because when you sit on a film set and you look at your VT or your monitor, and you're watching someone's performance, you're looking for specific beats that you need for the audience to decode the story. But he brought so much more beats than I didn't even know about. And unfortunately, I couldn't put everything in it because the film would be too long. But yeah, he's one of those actors that really thought about everything.
Well, Henk, I enjoyed talking to you. Like Muse, I could keep you on for another 40, 50, 60 minutes, but I'm not going to do that, because I know Haro, my good friend, has some questions for you as well. Thank you so much, Henk.
Thank you.
Hey, Henk. Nice talking with you, and congratulations on the movie. I wanted to start. I guess I'll start kind of where Chris left off, and talk about somebody else in the movie. And I really enjoyed the little boy's role in the movie, Tommy. Can you talk about how, I believe his name's Harry, how Harry became involved in this project, and how he was on set and you directing him?
Okay, so the rule of thumb is obviously don't work with children or water or animals, and we always had all three of them obviously on us, which is very ambitious. But I will tell you that Harry was the most incredible actor I've yet to work with. He has a photographic memory, and he's an emotive person. So in the one side of things, you can give him any amount of dialogue, and he almost instantly recognizes or he memorizes it. And then secondly, you can give him stage direction and emotive qualities, and he plays them. So it was working with like an emotional robot. It was incredible. It's just like, when you look at a young person, you're like, okay, so this is kind of where it's at now. So I have to be much better at my job. Otherwise, this act's going to take it. It was that kind of moment, And we found Harry McMillan Hunt through a casting process where a lot of young kids send us tapes. And I looked at him the first time and I was like, wow, he's making all these choices around these different character beats and where his character is in the journey. And I thought maybe he's getting some training or something. And then when I connected with him, he just thought it out. And his parents didn't even know he was making them. They didn't really understand why he was doing it. And so he has this natural ability for being an actor. And I was set. I watched one tape of him and I was like, this is the guy, and that was it, So kudos to you to spot him as well.
I thought his character was fascinating because even though he's a little boy, there are moments where, especially in the beginning, I'm like, I don't know if I like this kid. And he looks like a wonderful kid. He looks super nice, but I'm like, I don't know if I should be liking him or not. But then later, you can't help but do it. And then obviously you find out what's really going on in the movie. So I just thought he did a fascinating job of just, playing it very even and cool and didn't give away what was going on with his character.
Yeah, awesome. No, thank you. Yeah, I agree.
One of the things I also noticed about the film is, some movies kind of take their time and build, especially when it comes to scares, but you guys seem to hit the floor running and went right at it and went, 150 miles an hour right away. What was the decision about that and not really building up to anything and just kind of throwing the scares at you and not stopping?
That was a conversation. I don't know if you guys know Ryan Durinek from Blumhouse. He watched the film and he really liked The Unfamiliar. And I said to him, okay, well, it was one of the biggest cuts. And I said to him, listen, if you be like straight up with me, what would you change? Anything you'd like, what would you change? Maybe I can reshoot, just be honest. He said, no, he loves it. But the one thing is, they had a little bit of a rinse and repeat in the beginning. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, you're repeating information a little bit. And I said, oh, that's horrible. And I went through the film with a fine comb and I deleted every single thing I repeated. And the moment I did that, the film just became playing really quicker, much quicker. But you didn't have those beats that the film would linger. And then I thought, well, if you play the film like that, does it go anywhere? Because the thing is, you look at a film like, imagine it's a heavy metal song, right? And you hear this metal song and it goes, if the film just stays there, it will bore you after about 10 minutes. You'll head bang a little bit, and after 10 minutes, you'll be tired of it and you'll switch it off. So a film has to start like somewhere where it's going, and then it's going to go, and then it can go full on. And I think The Unfamiliar does that. So it does start lower than it ends. So it escalates all the way through. And so that's what I really like about the pace at the moment. And that's why I kept it. But I had scenes to make it slower. I had these scenes where it was a bit more lingering, where I get more time and stuff. But like after the conversation with Ryan, I was like, well, people are so used to seeing that kind of horrors. What if I just I take that out, see what happens. So that's what I did. Yeah.
No, I like the way you did it because, like I said, sometimes people start off and they give you a little scare and then they move on and then it's a lot of story and figuring out the character. Here you kind of went right to that car scene where she's under the car and you're like, oh man, this is pretty intense. And we're right off the bat. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's haunting here, what's not. But this is a pretty big scene already. And then it just takes off from there. So as you went through the movie, since you started, I think above where people usually start, did you find any challenge of trying to up your scares as you went? I mean, was it more difficult or?
It's written like that. So it was written in a way that it escalates. So every single sequence is in intensity a little bit bigger than the previous one. And then sometimes, obviously, it misguides you with horror tropes. And we use horror tropes to misguide the audience as well, or to sometimes guide them. So it is written like that. And it's also written in a way that it takes, for the lack of a better word, horror cliches and turn them on their head. So it was, the film to me is just like a mother trying to keep a family safe, and all these odd things happen, and she's trying to figure out what is going on, like the idea of what is going on. And I thought it's cool to like have all these odd things in the beginning, but if you go and look at the small clues, you're bringing up the car scene. There's black sand coming down from the car, and it looks like someone is digging a grave on top of her. And if you go and look at why, there's black sand next to the beaches. And digging the grave is obviously a warning or a forecast. So there's like small clues that I don't even think audiences will pick up maybe with a second or third viewing, that I hope audiences will pick up on. But we shall see. I left out so much exposition, I can't tell you. Like even the demons, the Kahuna demon's head and the Tiki totem is the same head. So if you go and look at the demon's forehead and you go and look at the Tiki totem, it was designed in that same way, so that the demon, the Tiki totem, is actually carrying the spirit of the Kahuna demon inside of it. So it's small clues like that, which is a conduit, right? So it's another horror trope. But it's small clues like that I could have said, listen, this is what's going on. This Tiki totem is a conduit for a spirit like Annabelle. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to visually put it there and leave it there and see if anyone picks up. Which while I'm talking now, I hate myself for giving it away because I was like, oh, did you see this? So maybe I shouldn't. But anyway, so it's small stuff like that.
Oh, it's cool to know that there are like little Easter eggs and things hidden in a film, especially for us and for those listening who have not seen the film can go and look for that. That's fun. But I thank you for your time, and I thank you for letting us enjoy your movie, and I'll pass it back to Ken.
Thank you, Oro.
Yeah, great round of questions from you guys. Henk, I wish I could ask you more without giving away too much. There were some scenes in there. One scene that I'm not going to give anything away or anything, but as we're watching it, and Izzy comes back and she has her kids, and I have a daughter, 2-year-old, right? And all I can think of the whole time was, those kids are so well behaved, especially the youngest one. Like, she's never crying or anything like that. I was like, how did you guys get? Her name was I forgot the baby's name there, but how did you? See, there were scenes. I mean, I'm sure there was. You used a doll or whatever, but were there ever times working with the child of that age where they would just start crying, or you had to take a cut because kids gonna do what the kid's gonna do?
I think so Lily Cormack, right? Is the baby character, and the thing with her, and her name is Beatrice. So she's got a beautiful British name, and so Beatrice, the actors were so good of her. So Jemima and Chris, they just like picked up the baby, and they were so natural that the baby never cried. But every time I came near, the baby cried. So I was quite offended. Obviously, I was like, maybe it's like that moment that the dog only barks at you, and you think, maybe I'm I'm a bad person, or maybe this person is going to think I'm a bad person. So I just avoided going in the room when Beatrice was there. And sometimes I did go in the room, and that's the crying scenes you see. But so that was the way I directed Beatrice. But I think she was a well-behaved kid. She actually like did some stuff that we did. Obviously, like it's so weird because you put a kid there and you're like, I wonder if she's going to look at the portraits, and she just goes like,
right.
Like, wow, nice, thank you, Beatrice. So yeah, but it was one of those moments where I think the fellow actors were really good with kids, and they helped the process a lot.
No, I agree. I think the whole cast, small cast, but it was really well done. But definitely some scary parts. There were, a few jump parts, like, oh God, and I had to like go back and rewind it just to make sure, did I see what I thought I saw? But yeah, well done. We appreciate being scared, but we also like to get our revenge on the directors and the writers, producers, actors. So what we like to do on Where the Scary Things Are is we like to put you through our little trivia challenge. It's 13 questions, random horror movies and whatnot. And here's the thing, Chris, myself, and Horo, we have no idea what these questions are. But Muse being the evil woman that she is, likes to torment us. And she's going to ask you these questions. If you need help, you can ask each of us, maybe we know. So that's one lifeline to get three of us help at separate times. You can ask for multiple choice, or you can ask to postpone. I think that's it, right? Yeah, 3.
Okay.
So I'm going to... Sure.
I'd just like to say I'm a new horror family member. Okay. So I'm not going to say I'm the horror expert, but I'm getting there. But okay, let's do it.
You'll be fine, man. Muse is nice sometimes. We'll see what how she's feeling tonight. Go ahead, Muse. See, look at she's scared of scaring you. She doesn't want to jump right into it. Oh, Muse, you're gonna make me jump in. Okay, we'll start easy. Well, I'll do the first question, and Muse figures out her thing here.
Oh no! I'm right here.
Oh, there you are.
I forgot I had the volume turned down on my microphone. My fault. Instead of hitting the mute there, I did both. I don't know. It's one of those days. We're starting off really grand.
2020.
Okay, yes, it's 2020. Definitely, that's a 2020 kind of thing to happen. All right. You mentioned, it's ironic, I made these questions up yesterday. And so I think it's pretty interesting that you mentioned that you love Stanley Kubrick. So the first question is about a Stanley Kubrick film, which is The Shining. And the question I'm going to start off with about The Shining is, I'm going to ask you, how many people die in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining?
I don't think anyone dies.
Are you sure?
Only, isn't it just Jack that dies?
Well, I'm going to give you a hint. If you've read the book, there's a character that doesn't die in the book that does actually die in the movie near the end. Right? But it's before Jack's death.
This is my wife's favorite film. She's going to hate me for getting this wrong, but I have no idea.
So
remember Jack dying.
Don't give up yet. So we know that Jack dies. That's one, right?
Yep.
So remember, you can ask myself, Chris, or Horo, or you can ask for multiple choice, or you can just take the loss and you can move on. At the end, there's a bonus question, so you can still come out at 13 for 13. So it's up to you.
I'm definitely not coming out 13 to 13. That would just be, my parents would think I should do something else then with my career, like becoming a doctor. So I'm aiming for 4 out of 13. But Ken, I would like you to tell me, because I think you know the answer.
It's 2, I think.
It is 2. Dick Halloran, yeah.
Yeah.
His character dies. Yep.
I was talking to Emily right here next to me. You can't see her, and I'm like, I think it's 2, and I'm like waving 2 on accident, like, oh yeah, I'm on camera. So my fault. Yeah, 2. So 1 lifeline down.
I think I lost connection.
No, you're good. All right, we're just having some technical difficulties, but that's all right. I can move on. Horo, we might have to have you jump in too. So name the main character or the main Cenobite from Hellraiser.
From Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
That is definitely Horo's question. So Horo would answer that for us, please.
Sorry, I had to get that off mute there. We're talking Pinhead here.
Yes, sir. Pinhead.
Guys, I'm gonna probably not even get 4 out of
No,
10.
we're gonna help you. Don't worry, we're gonna help you.
I
Trust
think
me.
I think that counts.
All right, I know it's late on your end too. So, okay, let's see. Name the movie that if you bury an animal, they come back to life.
Okay, so that's Pet Cemetery.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Who is the actor who plays Freddy Krueger?
I watched the interview from the other day.
The actor who plays Freddy Krueger.
The actor who plays Freddy Krueger. I know the producer. I'm actually making a film with the producer.
I'll take that. I'll take that. Who is the producer of Nightmare on Elm Street?
Michael? Is it Michael? Hold on.
Use the force. You can do it.
I'm going to show you that I'm making a film with him. But I also forgot his name. So I'm sorry. No, carry on. I don't have the answer.
All right, we'll take a loss. It is Robert
Yes,
Englund. Robert Englund.
Robert Englund, yes. I watched the interview with him the other day. Sorry about that. Yeah.
You know what's funny is you probably do know these, but and when you're on the spot, it's like you're like, oh my gosh, I know this, but I don't know it at this moment. So Muse, are you back?
I'm back. I'm sorry, I lost connection. There's more. I'm having technical problems.
All right. We're on question 5, just so you know.
Question 5.
Yeah, he missed one. He just missed one so far.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to a classic movie, The Omen from 1976. And I'm going to ask you, in the film The Omen, what breed of dog attacks Robert Thorne and Keith Jennings in the cemetery where Damien's mother is buried? What breed of dog?
Was it a Doberman?
It's a big dog.
It's close, really close to a Doberman. Like, they look the same.
No, they don't.
No?
You're wrong, Ken. Nope.
A Rottweiler then?
They
kind of look the same. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but I think they look the same.
So I remember that Omen because I actually watched it as a reference. And remember Doberman, but it's not Doberman. Maybe it's that German Shepherd. No, it can't be a German Shepherd. German Shepherd would be good though because they're very good to listen to if you're a director. So you can actually like very clever dogs. So it's a good choice. Or a if it's not one of those, Great Dane. Is it a Great Dane?
No. I can give you. I can give you. You have a few more lifelines. You can ask Chris. You can ask Horo. Or I can give you.
No. He used Horo already.
I was gone that long. Chris. Holy moly.
Chris knows.
Chris knows. All right.
Repeat the question.
All right. In The Omen, what breed of dog attacks Robert Thorne and Keith Jennings in the cemetery where Damien's mother is buried? Rottweiler, yes.
It is. They do look the same. Okay, they don't look exactly, but they have the same colors. I'm going to send you pictures. So
the colors.
I will pull rank, and I will say that a Doberman is the correct answer. So you're going to get the right answer. Oh, no. Wait. You already did get the right answer because Chris gave you Okay, so 6.
Okay, he did. Yeah, that's definitely right.
All right, you're good. So question 6. Question 6.
Okay, for question 6, I'm going to give you a synopsis of a movie, and I'm going to ask you to tell me what movie I'm speaking of. All right. Okay. This is another classic. I'm gonna kind of give you a clue and tell you it's a 1960 classic. A woman steals $40,000 from her employer and leaves town to start a new life with her lover. Along the way, she buys a new car and she checks into a small motel. Keyword motel in this 1960 classic film.
Okay, so is that film the something motel, Bates Motel? Is that right?
Yes, it is. It was the Bates Motel. I that's close enough to the actual movie. So I mean, I want to give that one to him. What do you think, Ken?
Oh, really? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we'll take it. It's Psycho, but yeah, we'll because they did make the series Bates Motel. So yeah, we'll go. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Okay. I know exactly that there's one person. It's unfortunately 2 a.m. here, but there's one person that would be able to answer all these questions without a doubt. And she helped me a lot with the research, and she's Elise Greef. So I wish I could just phone someone, but anyway, that's fine. Thank you.
We need to start. We need to start adding more lifelines. Yeah, definitely. If you've got people that to help you out, I would definitely. I love that idea.
I'll tell you what, Emily's sitting right next to me. You can't see her, but if you do get stumped on one more, we'll see. And she doesn't know a lot about horror movies, so it's even more fun because I get to see her expression.
Squirm.
Yeah. So if you get stumped, we can see if Emily knows it. All right, go ahead, Muse.
Okay.
All right.
And you get multiple choice though, so you still have two. You have 2 more lifelines.
Yep, there's still the multiple choice.
And you're on question 7.
Question 7.
Right.
All right. Academy Award winner Patricia Arquette made her film debut in what 1980s slasher film? Now I'm going to I'm going to give you a hint, and I'm going to tell you it's a sequel to a very famous horror franchise that was mentioned earlier.
Oh, I know. Okay.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep, Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's one of the sequels that she was in.
Give it half a point so far.
Right. It's still you still got the right franchise.
I'll give you a hint. I think if I'm correct, I could be wrong, but it was one of the last questions I asked you about your film about. Right? Am I right? Remember I was asking about certain characters in his movie. I think it's something about. Maybe I'm confusing you more. Sorry.
Certain characters, Nightmare on Elm Street, Patricia Arquette. I honestly don't know, but have a lifeline.
Does maybe Emily know? What about Emily?
On this one,
I think she said Dream Child. Did you say Dream Child?
Okay, Emily. Yes, let's Emily.
I think she said Dream Child, but she mumbled it. Is that right?
No.
Oh, you're wrong.
No.
You guys,
she didn't know.
Are gonna get me expelled from my new horror film.
No, never.
You're doing good. You've only missed 2. You've only missed 2 so far, so you're actually not in bad shape here. You're on question 9. You're almost done.
All right. It was. Is he taking?
What is?
Is he taking a hit on that one?
Yeah. We lost.
All right. It was the Dream Warriors. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. The Dream Warriors.
The Dream Warriors. Okay.
All right. Here we go. Question. Are we on question 9?
9.
What A-list actors played the vampires Lestat and Louis in Interview with the Vampire from 1994?
Chris and Hora were the original. They were going to play it, but they couldn't make it.
Interview with the Vampire, wasn't it Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise, yes, that is one.
No, I didn't remember another one. Tom Cruise.
You still have multiple choice.
Don't use it on this one. No, come on, you can do it. Let's get. Okay. You can pull through here. Okay. I'm going to give you another hint. He's played in 2 recent Quentin Tarantino films.
Uma Thurman?
No, a man.
Oh, is it a man? Okay, 2 recent Quentin Tarantino films. Okay. I know.
He's a very handsome man, and.
No, was it Brad Pitt? Yes, it was Brad Pitt. Right?
It is Brad Pitt. You are correct.
Yes,
Brad Pitt. Yes, all right.
All right.
Sometimes you just gotta work it out. Exactly. You guys are doing great.
All right. Well done, Hank. Question 10.
All right. Question 10. All right. I'm going to give you 3 things that are associated with this horror film. And based on those 3 items, I want you to tell me which horror movie that you think I'm speaking of. All right. I'll give you the year. It was 1974. And the 3 items are a wheelchair, animal bones, and a meat hook. I'm going to give you one more, a chainsaw.
Look, I'm going to take the easy and go Chainsaw Massacre.
That is correct. You're right. Yes.
Well done.
Thank you. You helped me a lot. Thanks.
That was excellent. All right. So, okay, we're going to go a little bit newer horror on this one. From 2009, the movie Zombieland. And I'm going to ask you, what actor played the character of Tallahassee in the film Zombieland. He was looking for the Twinkies. Very memorable character.
She was great.
You guys have the same haircut. You have the same haircut.
Oh, Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, but I thought you were referring to that blonde girl. She was hilarious in the latest one.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I actually haven't seen the sequel. I look forward to seeing it, though. I heard it's really, really good. I definitely want to see it.
Yeah,
I've not been lucky enough to see the sequel yet.
Yeah, she was awesome.
I have to see it now. All right. So, Ken, what question are we on? You got to keep me in line over here.
13.
13. Okay, this is the last one. All right. Oh, let's see. For the last one. All right. Okay, I'm going to give you a true or false on this last one. True or false? The movie Scream takes place in the fictional U.S. town of Woodsboro. True or false?
I like Scream.
I think he still has multiple choice left. Am I wrong?
Okay.
I think you do. I think you still have multiple choice.
Yes, but I would say false.
It's true. It is Woodsboro. It is Woodsboro. That's all right. That's all right. You did a great job.
I just never heard of the town, so I was like, no.
Right? Yeah. They just kind of created it.
Times I just don't know about it. Oh, okay, so there's no time. Okay, good. That's fine. All right. No, but thank you guys. It's been awesome chatting to you, but I have to say, these are the most difficult questions.
I know. I'm sorry.
You know, Muse is she's gonna beat me up later. She's like, I thought they were simple, but you know what? You did well. You actually got 10. You got 10 for 13 right. That's really good.
10 for 13.
I got 1 or 2.
You were excellent.
My parents are gonna be so happy I'm not a doctor.
Hey, Hank, listen, I know it's late there. I just wanted to say thank you real quick once again. So let's do this. Tell us where we can find the film. I know it's stream on demand right now, but what's in the pipeline for you? What are you working on? And then where can we find you on social media?
So I'm working at the moment on a new film. It's a sci-fi dramatic film, and that's really the one I'm actually doing with Michael, which is the producer of the Freddy Krueger, which I can't remember his surname because I was on the spot, and I'm very sorry about that, Michael. But anyway, so it's something a sci-fi horror film. It's actually more of a sci-fi dramatic film with him. And then you can find the Unfamiliar on Unfamiliar Movie, which is on Facebook, or www.theunfamiliarmovie.com, which is the website. And there's quite a lot of stuff there. Or you can find me on Henk Pretorius, anywhere on Twitter or Facebook, whatever your preferred social media outlet is. So yeah, that's where you can find us. And the Unfamiliar is available. Sorry, the last question you asked is the Unfamiliar is available at the moment in the USA. Any big shop, done also on DirecTV and Amazon. I think it's about 1 million households in pay TV, all that stuff, satellite and so forth. Yeah. So it's available there, and it will be a bit later in the UK as well.
Well, Hank, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We all enjoyed the movie, and congratulations again. We look forward to your next movie. And on behalf of Where the Scary Things Are, have a good night, my friend.
Guys, thank you very much for all your hard work and amazing questions and incredible content. I really appreciate it. I'm going to brush up on my knowledge before we talk again, I promise.
Well done. Have a good night, my friend.
Cool. Cheers, guys.
Okay, we're clear for a second.